teacher. With over 4 decades of changing lives, your self-discovery archaeologist. Get ready to be the best of you with your host, Beverly Zeimet.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Beverly Zeimet Show, where becoming the best you can be has just gotten easier, right? Oh my gosh, it's such a delight to have with me here today Miss Patricia Jo Grover, better known as Patti Grover online.
Hello.
Welcome, welcome. Gosh, this is the second time to the show. It's so great to have you back. You know, people just loved you first time around. They're going to even love you more this second time around, right?
Hey, I hope so. It was great last time, and I enjoyed, the conversation, and that's really the most important thing, that we're being real. That's the thing. This is real. This is as we're having this conversation.
Right. And I think a lot of people don't really quite grasp the whole picture of what being real really means, right? Have you found that with your clients and people that you've just talked to, even friends or even family, in different events, is to really be that real you, right?
That's true. That's true.
Yeah. So how do you share with your clients to help them be real?
Well, that's the thing. People at this point in time, I've been telling them, really, they need to take this time to get to know themselves and what they have for their skills, where they are for their strengths and everything. They have more inside of them than they ever realized.
Oh.
And it's great. It's so great to see them haven't finally grasped the understanding of that they are inside. They're more powerful of a person than they ever thought they had the possibility of being. It's already there. It's already inside them.
Oh, that's so true. Thank you for sharing that. And it's like, what people don't realize what they have inside of them, and the changes that they can make, how it impacts other people's lives, right? Because sometimes we get so busy, being busy, wrapped up in ourselves, outside of thinking we have to fix everybody out there. So we have to be this certain person. We have to act like this, and we have to do things like that. Otherwise, people aren't going to like me, or they're not going to accept me, or they might make fun of me. They're going to judge me. Heaven forbid, right? So when you think those thoughts and those things run crazy, around in your head, is it doing you any good? That's the question. Is it doing you any good? So we're going to talk a little bit more on that subject when we get into the overwhelm part, right? But let's lead into that with oh, there she is. It's like, where'd you go, Patti? You disappeared and came back. Okay. Is to moving forward in life, moving forward in business, moving forward in personal things, all of these different things, right? So what is stopping you from moving forward? And that's the question. So if you're listening out there, comment below. Let us know, what is it that's stopping you? And we can address maybe some of these things, but if we don't know what your issue is, how can we address it, right? So comment below. We got you plugged in here so that we can watch for questions to come on in. And you got two experts that are going to help you with that, right? What better place to be? So Patti, when you're working with people and they're saying, that, how do I move forward? What's your response to them?
Well, what I say is you need to take a deep look inside yourself. There's so many things that we are fearful of that, that overwhelm us. And that comes to overwhelm. And I have this thing, I call it, chewing gum work. So the chewing of, and thinking of it this way, how do we eat that elephant? One bite at a time. And nothing that I say are things that people have never heard of.
Right.
I just break it down and make it so that we can understand it in today's society.
Okay.
All these things are so big and huge that if we just break it down piece by piece and get all the goodness out of it, and spit out and get rid of all the stuff that's no longer useful to us and that holds us back. And there are so many things that even the smallest thing that could still, I mean, from our past or whatever, that may be holding us back that we haven't thought of, but we really need to revisit those things and break it down to find out what exactly it is from that experience that could be holding us back, or is that's the piece that's holding us back, and use whatever we get from that information for the best, and then it makes it easier to let go of the past.
Yes, that's so true. It's that recognizing that there is an issue here. Start to recognize the possibilities of what it could be, you have a really good point there. It usually comes out of your past, comes back through your childhood, goes back into different elements of different events that have transpired, and it's not just one event, it's something that's happened over and over, so it's become like an automatic pilot, and it's there continuously, right, that has stopped you, because again, it's kind of that lack of confidence in yourself, maybe your lack of self-esteem, self-preservation, self-worth, self-values, it's a combination of so many things that it's hard to pinpoint it to one thing. And because it's numerous events that build one on top of the other, you get this little pile of a molehill that turns in this massive mountain. And then you have to take into consideration, because all thought is magnetic, emotions are thoughts, they're magnetic. Now when you're in a conversation with someone else about those feelings, because the feeling is what fuels that emotion, you attach to all of their stuff. So are you talking about them, or are you talking about you, or are you talking about both of you? So you're exchanging that energy force from those thought patterns, which then fill up your file with more stuff that sets you back and uncharges your ability to just want to move forward, because that voice in your head gets louder. Oh, don't do that. Last time you did this, oh my gosh, are you serious? You want to try that? And it's like, so you got this battle of conflict inside of you when you're looking to move forward, because the database of the information of where you are now does not match up with the database from the past that's running the show, so to speak, right? Right? Does that make sense? So
Yeah, and it really does. And then what I talk about and I share in my second book that's coming out are the limiting beliefs that we have for ourselves. We have those because of, it could have been something from our childhood and from our past, but also the limiting beliefs that of others have put on us, or we've allowed for them to put on us, and holding us back and pinning us down. We all have that window that we look out, and I call that our belief window.
right.
As that's the way we're now seeing things through our eyes of that window of those things. So that's looking through that, and that has such a big effect on us that it is time to start building those new beliefs and gaining that new strength.
Right.
So yeah, it really is. And the only way to do that is to really dig deep, and sometimes that's painful for people. It really is to do.
Right. It is. You've worked your way up through the levels, shall we say, right? Moving through some of that, and that's kind of where I started my journey back in 1974, to really take a look at those pain points as those things that I don't like about me. I didn't like being angry. I didn't like being in the life situation that I was in, there were so many things in my life that I was ready to just say, I'm done. I'm done. I mean, I was right there on the edge of suicide because it was like, time's up. I don't get this. This is not where my life is supposed to be. And I wanted to blame it on everyone out there. I wanted to blame it on my childhood, right? And back in the 70s, there definitely was not the information and the ability to reach out in this type of avenue than what there is now. And I grew up in farm country in the middle of the Midwest, right? So talk about being isolated, it was there, and who do you talk to? And it's kind of a crazy thing that goes on. But when I started releasing my anger is when I started really listening to the inner voice of who I was. And started realizing, because I got my messages, which I'm thinking I'm talking to God and giving him hell. I'm really talking to my higher self, and slapping me around. Mm-hmm. But began listening to myself and got the messages is like, hey, you put yourself here, you can get yourself out. Well, how do I do that? Mind over matter. Okay, what the heck is that? So I'm hearing these voices coming down. What is mind over matter? And I just started really paying attention. And I think when we can all do that, but there's so many things now that I've been showing after coming up through the ranks and blood, sweat, and tears. I mean, there was a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, but I did it. And so can you. But you don't have to go through the blood, sweat, and tears that I did. That's what makes me an expert on this, coming out to where I can show you, if you're ready to learn from everything that I've gathered over the years, how you can take that little chunk of self-sabotaging, that automatic pilot thing running there that keeps you from really stepping into your full power. Delete it. Start deleting these things in 60 seconds or less, without even having to have the full knowledge of what it is. That's the power of the techniques that I've developed, right? So you do that and go hand in hand with what Patty's sharing here with you, going into that next level of going forward. That's the combination of having more people in your circle of influence, and that's what it's all about. So Patty, let's talk a little bit about circle of influence, and what does that exactly mean? Can you put out your opinion on what that means and share that with the audience here?
Yeah, actually, the people that you reach out to, you find, and for many people it may be somebody that is associated with the church that they belong to. Some people it is it's getting a mentor in whatever field it is that you are trying to have that growth in. Now, those people, we all need them. We all need them. And I've heard of I'm talking people that are internationally known that say they have mentors for 2 or 3 different areas of their lives, because they realize they cannot do everything on their own.
Right.
None of us can do every single thing on our own. No one is perfect. We all have those needs and areas that we need to grow on, and we need to reach out for expertise. And it's helps if someone has been there, or has been to the closest part of the journey that you are journeying on yourself.
Right.
And so that's where Beverly and I've shared some of my story here recently on Facebook, and there was the article that I was on the magazine cover, and had an article in the magazine that I've shared with the world, is that, if I can come through everything that I've come through as an individual and be where I am today, I've learned from the school of hard knocks, and also from other people's wisdom. And that's your circle of influences, other people's wisdom. This lady, I'm a Grammy, but this Grammy, I don't knit, I cliche. And what I mean by that is using what we have heard, those words of wisdom that have been used over the years. They're still around. Those words are still around for a reason, because they have that meaning. It's there.
Right.
There's no
Right.
two ways around it. You know, some of these words, just share one, for example, that comes to the top of your head, Beverly.
Um, if you think you're right, you're right, and if you think you're wrong, you're right.
Yeah, exactly. You know, and some of these things you and I didn't write this stuff, or I didn't make it up. It's there.
No.
It's been there forever. And the reason is it's true. That's why it's still with
Exactly.
us. So I like to take things like that and just bring them into everyday life. And basically that's what a lot of the newer, what do you want to say, pastors or whatever are doing with the Bible and stuff that's said there. You know, they're using it and bringing the terminology, switching it up to today's terms to make it relatable for people.
Relatable.
And
That's a key word.
that's all.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. How do we take and put these things into our personal life right now? Because sometimes it's okay to know all that things, you hear all that stuff, but if you can't actually put it into motion, and sometimes the brain just doesn't click that way, and that's why you have coaches. And let's talk a minute about that. People need people, right? And they have a circle of influence, and those that are successful have coaches like the Tony Robbins of the world, the Bill Gates of the world, even President Trump. They all have their coaches. They all have that assistance to be able to just throw things out and get a whole different perspective in those different avenues of life, right? And we learn from that. So when you can learn from your mistakes, and don't call them mistakes, don't call them screw ups or whatever, it's like learn from the things that you overcame, right? That's what turns that message into wisdom, right? So it's like, oh, I just had a hiccup in life that made me smarter, right? Because guess what? Moral of the story is don't do that again, right? It's interesting. People will tell me certain things, right? They'll say, "Oh my gosh, I got to share this with you. I did the most screwed up thing, da 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 da," right? And they tell me the story, right? And they kind of, you can tell they're kind of hanging on to it. I'll ask them. I'll say, "And the moral of the story is what?" And then they stop and think for a minute, and I said, "The moral of the story is don't do it again." Oh yeah. So you turn that into that piece of wisdom, right? And that's how things,
exactly.
your defaults can become assets, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Take those weaknesses that we've had, you know, and turn them into opportunities.
Right.
Turn it around. And, you know, the thing is, anything that has happened in the past, you know, we can learn from, good, bad, or indifferent.
Right.
You know, we can. But as we're going through life, it's more important for us to be looking out the windshield, watching where we're going, rather than paying attention to looking in that rearview mirror and facing, you know, looking into the past. Because that's not, you know, if we're going to get where we're going, we need to have that focus right straight forward.
Yeah, get
You know,
rid of that rear view mirror, right? Because
right.
if you keep looking at that rear view mirror, your past is going to keep on chasing and following you, and it's going to jump in the back seat, and then pretty soon it's in the driver's seat, and it's like, what the heck? How did you get here again, right?
Yeah.
You know.
So exactly. And what I say too is, I personally use planning days. So I use, you know, Sundays and my planning day for the week. And I do, you know, I have a planning day for a month. I have, you know what I mean? And set that aside. That's the time when I take the time to sit down and focus on, you know, what happened. You know, I review. So every day, and this is something I'm going to also share on my Keep Focused on the Future on Friday, is the fact that these are some of the pieces. Is, you know, I journal through what happened today, whatever the case may be,
Right.
and I review that at the end of the week, and I take from that the good and utilize that. But something I've learned, if there was something that didn't go quite so well, I'm not going to let that, hold me back. What I'm going to do is I'm going to learn from that and try to make it work into the future and how I would change things up.
Oh, those are powerful words. That's great. And again, it's how do you know that if you don't begin to recognize the things that are going on around you? That's a key element, is to recognize. So looking at how to get forward, face the issues, or at least kind of start to have an idea of what those blocks are. Let's start eliminating them, eliminating the things that are attached to the things you recognize, and also remove it the things that you don't recognize. Because like I said, 95% of all of that stuff belongs to somebody else because it attached magnetically to you. So if you think you're going to go down and figure out every little detail of what the problem is, you're never going to move forward. It's going to keep you locked in that past, right? So that's opening up and learning how to trust, learning how to have faith, and really start opening up that intuitiveness to you. What is your gut telling you? What is it? Because that's what you need to pay attention to and plow through it, right? Now you can plow through it, with a struggle, or you can just kind of skim across the top and move it and just let the underground go. That's a choice. That's a choice. So when we talk about this moving forward and that struggle, that leads us into another position of what? Being overwhelmed, right? And then overwhelm adds anxiety. Does anybody feel like that? Hey, comment below. Let us know. Do you feel overwhelmed? Do you have anxiousness? Do you worry about all kinds of stuff? Let us know. Is that part of yours? What is your biggest anxiety? Right?
And I would add to that, Beverly, is what happens, just I'm going to share some of the things that I know happens in these cases of overwhelm. It can come from people getting that feeling of they're just so overwhelmed, they shut down. They just shut down, close themselves off. And that's a form of self-sabotage, because they just don't know what else to do. They throw their arms up and just like completely emotionally and physically it affects them,
right?
And shutting down. And I can see just from reports, and you see the stuff on the news of stuff that's going on, especially right now with everybody being cooped up for so long.
Yeah.
It's happening.
Yeah, and it is, and there's been some reports and stuff out there now, with the psychology of things, keeping people isolated for extended periods of time. Once you start passing that 4 weeks, and the closer you get to 6 weeks, start shifting the psyche and the thought processing and everything, and that's where people become more vulnerable to manipulation. Right? And so it's to be aware of that. How do you become aware of that? Thank goodness we do have the internet right now, because I think that's been a lot of saving grace for people if they've been getting out on there and associating and working, being on Zooms, being on lives, being on whatever, being able to connect, right? And rather than disassociating, right? To take this private time to reevaluate who you are, what you are, how you are, where you're going, and all that kind of stuff, but not getting caught up in the isolation of the fear. Oh my gosh, what's going to happen next, right? And we don't want that. So it's, where do you go? What do you do, right? So again, it was interesting, the words that came out, and all of a sudden Patti goes, poof, she's in black. Right? Do you ever feel that way with overwhelm? I'm just going to shut everything out. Boom, everything goes dark. Right? It's just what she had mentioned. We isolate to the point of total darkness, total shut off. That's not what it's all about, because that does not get you where you need to go. That does not move you forward in any activity in life. Right? So that kind of goes back with what we said here earlier. So when you look at those anxieties, What are those anxieties? Are they yours? How much of it is yours? What's been repeating in your life that is feeding that anxiousness, that worry? What is out of your control? There is no control. So what can you take charge of in your life and make a difference? Because you still have choice, you still have free will. And you can change those choices. But just by shutting everything down, that's still a choice. That's still a choice. So don't run from things. Step in the midst of fear, and you can overcome it. So the greatest fear is fear itself, right? And you can conquer it. I promise you, you really can conquer it. Because when you're standing in the midst of fear, you can project what's on the other side of there. If you project more fear out there, what are you going to get? More fear. If you project harmony, peace, direction, abundance, whatever that is, well, guess what? That's what you're going to get. So to defeat the fear is be stronger than it, right? So all of that stuff that's coming up, that is that sabotaging part of you, that's when the techniques that I can share with you will work. And that's a great challenge for you to do, is say, okay, I'm going to step in the middle of this fear and I'm going to stand here, right? And I'm not going to project fear out there. So these are the stuff that's coming up. Delete, 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 right? And going through these different steps. You can unload so much stuff that by the time you finish, it's just say in a half an hour. And if you can do a whole big dumping every 60 seconds, that's 30 big dumps in a half an hour. Do you think that's going to change your thought processing? You think that's going to change how you react? Wow. That's power in your own hands. That's a choice to become that better you. Right? So.
Yes, Beverly. And what I also, say and will add to that, I agree with all of those things, and it's just the same thing as my gum chewing with eating the elephant, going back to that.
I love that analogy.
We have to look at what it is about that fear. So breaking it down, what is it that's coming into your mind, however it's getting there, whatever that fear is, and really, break it down. Why am I having this?
Right.
What's behind it? Break it down, because when we do that, it's going to lose power. That fear is no longer that hold over you. It can't hold it over you, because you're breaking it down and you're making a liar out of that fear, and really getting to the bottom of it. And then you can use that, turn around and use everything you've gotten from breaking that fear down, turn around and use it against that fear, and that's going to put you that much further ahead,
right,
in a positive manner.
I think a lot of people forget too that
so,
you were not born with this fear, right? Fear is taught. Fear is taught, right? But what we do with the teachings of those fears and how we build on it, it's our own creation. It's like, oh my gosh, I created this crap? Yes. Can you uncreate it? Oh yeah. Right? Yeah. So anything you put into matter can be shifted. It's like think about this as your trash, right? So fear can be your trash. And so what dissolves trash to make it go away? You don't want to just throw it out there and let the wind blow it, because it just keeps on blowing from one place to another. So now your trash becomes somebody else's trash, because it goes to the neighbor's yard, and keeps on going, right? It can go all the way across another state, right? So that trash continues, just like the stuff they dump in the ocean, right? And it floats all the way across the other side of the planet. So where are you putting your trash that you're trying to get rid of? Because it will come back to get you sooner or later. It'll bite you in the butt. So when you take trash and you put it in an incinerator, you burn it, what happens? It turns into ashes. It totally transmutes. So that's some of the teachings that I share with you when you are dumping those thought patterns. Don't dump them for somebody else to pick up because it's magnetic. Transmute it by dumping it in an incinerator. Burn that fear. Burn what's fueling that fear. And it dissolves it and transmutes it into another whole form of energy that you can utilize to boost yourself up and move yourself forward. But don't dump your trash in somebody else's yard.
That's true.
Right?
That's true. That's true. And sometimes we do that, and it actually with social media, it makes it that much easier to do.
Oh my gosh.
Because there's that everybody's flowing all this stuff,
Right.
and it's spewing out, whether it be something of hatred or something, of just how awful they think somebody or something is.
Right.
And that fear of whatever it is going on, it multiplies, and that's what's happened and what's going on with society right now.
Right. Yeah, and it's buying into it, and you start listening to some of the media things, that, I mean, fear sells. Right?
Right.
Somebody's misfortune gets capitalized on. That's what sells. I mean, that is really screwed up in our society, that we live off of somebody else's issues, somebody else's major problem. It's like, seriously? I mean, just a car wreck, So there's all these big accidents. Oh, we had a 100-car pile up here, blah, blah, blah. Well, this is information that sells. It's like, why? Why do we capitalize on the negative activity? What does it do? It makes us look better, makes our world look better. Is this how we have to incorporate feeling better about ourselves when we see somebody else is worse off? Something in there is messed up.
Some of it's human nature to a point too.
Right.
So what I want to do today, actually, with you, Beverly, is because I've been talking to you about technology.
Yeah.
And I'm technology challenged, and many people that know me know this for sure. And I don't know. I don't know if I can blame it on my era of where my age generation. I don't want to do that, but still, that's part of it to some extent.
That's part of that belief system too. If you're a certain age, you have to act like this. You have to be sick like this. You have to do like this. And honey, I'm past you. You might be a granny, but I'm a great one. 4 times over. Okay?
There you go. And you are great. So what I'm going to share today, though, and this is going to help people understand the circle of influence.
There we go.
So what I'm going to share a fear. Okay. So I'm going to share with our people that are watching and listening today, is because with my business, I am, and I've told people several times that I am working on creating workshops and online courses that'll be available online, and for everybody. For me, that's, the technical part of it is the challenge for me. And Beverly has introduced me to something that will be, I believe, a fabulous and tremendous asset for my business, but also for individuals who are wanting to get the opportunity to take some of these courses to start moving forward. So for me, again, the technical part, and I'm reaching out to Beverly for assistance with that, because she knows the program better than I do. At this point, I have to learn, and I'm not saying, but when I started looking at it after you and I had talked, I got in there and playing and stuff. And I don't know, we'll talk about this after, but I don't know if it's just that I wasn't doing something right, or my connection wasn't good, my internet connection wasn't strong enough, or whatever the case may be. But I got, all of a sudden, I had this feeling come over me, and this is what I want, man, maybe I shouldn't be messing with this. Maybe this is too techy for me. Maybe I shouldn't go this avenue. And so I can totally understand if people are having feelings that come over them to say, and then shut down.
Right.
But and so what I tell everybody when it comes to having fears and that stuff, again, I had to stop myself, and I had to start chewing that gum and breaking down that elephant one bite at a time, and knowing that I have a curiosity that is greater than my fear.
Oh, that is beautiful. Say that again. Say that again.
You have to have a curiosity that is greater than your fear.
Oh, wow.
And
That
and
is powerful.
and I have that. I have that because I saw so much when you showed me what this was all about. I saw such great potential there, not just for me and my business, but for people as individuals to really get submersed into the information when they're taking these courses, and being involved in workshops, and being able to be in, actually physically, not physically, virtually, be in a classroom setting with other people that are doing the same things. And again, that is almost your other circle of influence, because I've mentioned before, and I'll explain it again. I have created a peer-to-peer mentoring and accountability program that, as people are traveling their journey of goal achievement, it's good to have other people that they're not on your same journey, because none of us are on the same journey.
Right.
We're all on our own journeys, but that support system of other people that are like-minded, they're on a mission, they're going to be supportive of each other, and having curiosities that are greater than their fears. And sometimes we don't have those people in our immediate family and friends, because when I started out writing my book, and when I started my business, some people were looking at me like, you're crazy.
Right.
And that, and I'm sure many people do when it's a business or something that they want to start.
Right.
If people don't understand the passion for your project, they're going to tell you, oh, it'll never work. Not, that you're wasting your time and money. The thing is, again, you have to have your curiosity being greater than your fears, and not letting anybody steal that from you.
Yeah, don't let anybody steal your thunder. That.
Don't
And,
let them steal your
yeah,
dreams.
and that's really a major issue, because a lot of times it's like, oh, if she goes through with this and becomes a success, then that means I might have to make a choice to go through with something that I've just kind of literally thrown out there, right? Because they fear failure, so they want you to fail so that they don't have to prove that they are. I mean, it's crazy how it goes around and around.
Yeah.
Your greatest supporters are going to be the people you don't know, right? Because they've heard
Right.
you talk. Talk. So family and close friends, a lot of times, they're just there hearing the same thing over and over and not really getting that expression of yourself. So what you're talking about is having that curiosity move you beyond your fears is very powerful. Now, some of the people are probably wondering, what the heck is she talking about? We're talking about virtual reality here. Virtual reality is basically taking the world reality you have here, moving it on a different platform. So being in this vessel that you're walking around in, it's going to be in an avatar vessel. Which now, when you're in this virtual reality world, you can open up to people that and reach globally, right? But you can reach others to make what you do more affordable than it was before, because you cut out travel time. That can be a huge expense. So if you're charging, $1,000 or $2,000 or whatever for your course, even $500 for the course, whatever it is, that's a doable. But then when you start adding in travel time, hotel expenses, food eating out, getting a sitter for who's at home, or all of these other things, wow, that's a month's pay or more sometimes, right? And so how could it be that you can reach out and do that? And it's not a virtual thing here like this on a Zoom. We're literally saying moving you onto a platform where you're in an auditorium setting, or you're sitting behind tables where you can write however the format is that you want to focus it on. Having the discipline, say, okay, I'm in this class. I just spent $500. I just spent $2,000 to learn, right? What Patti is going to teach me here. I better have the discipline to go behind closed doors and shut that door, turn on my little computer here, jump in my little avatar, and be in class on time so that I don't disrupt the other people in there. Respect the teacher, respect the other students, because you are walking into a live classroom when you're in virtual reality. Even though it's an avatar, it's still you walking into a group of other people, right? So be respectful of that. Be respectful of your time to yourself. And let the people, if you're in your own home or whatever, or office, wherever it is that you're doing this, let them know that you are off limits for X amount of time. Put a sign on the door. Solve your issue yourself. I'm in class. Or whatever it is, right? You have to have that. Just because you're not physically walking or driving to a place doesn't change how you respond during those classes. The virtual reality world gives you the ability to take more classes from people in different parts of the world to make you become that better you, to take your business to that next level. It's like Patti and I are working on something here to give her a professional look with a background unique to her, with the music, with the play, with everything that goes into building a show, to building yourself out there and making a statement so that when they see it, boom, they're going to know it's you. They're going to know. Just like Nike, a little check mark. Who would ever thought that this little check mark was going to be associated to this massive corporation, right?
True.
Right?
And what I want to say to that is, for the people, because I know people will be watching this that are also entrepreneurs that are doing things with their business and having to pivot with going more
Right.
techie with things, but also for the people who I service. I want to be able to put this together so that people can go and sit in the classroom and actually and not have to physically travel. So they can sit there, and I want to have presentations so that, yes, I'll have an avatar, but also I want to have videos there that you'll be able to see my face going along with my voice, because
Right.
I truly believe that connection that you have with an individual, because you see their cadence, you see, you hear the inflection of the voice, you see how somebody is, their emotions, the facial expressions, and that helps you connect and understand that person
Right.
on that different level. And so, yes, I'll still be able to have an avatar to like stand there and walk around and ask questions, as far as being that instructor in the classroom type of thing. But I do still want to have as much of it having,
The real.
even if we're not, right, even though we're not physically in the same room at the same time, we're just like we are now, with me and Beverly having this conversation, and this conversation is real.
Yeah.
This hasn't been something that we have you know, edited or anything.
Right.
This is real, and I want to be real with the people that take my courses and workshops, and because I want to affect as many people on a in a positive way as possible and help them through their journey of, and what I do is work with people from weaving their dreams, meaning help them believe that they can, and how is the best way to put things together so that they can create those smarter plans to put the steps together to achieve their dreams and goals. And with
Right.
all that, and I say you have to have the curiosity. That curiosity is a big
That's a
word.
great word. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
you have to have the curiosity, but you have to have the courage, and you
Right.
have to have the consistency. And I work with those three things with my clients with all aspects, because what I say when I do my coaching and consulting, it's conquering skills education. that that's basically
That's a
my
good way
three
to put
C's,
it.
is taking that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is, because um there are so many things that come at us. We have to stay focused on those three things,
Right.
and there's so many things that come at us, those fears, the uncertainty, there you know we could go on, you and I, Beverly, of the things that come
Oh
at
my
people, because
gosh.
we know they've come at us.
Right.
They've
We've
come at
been
us,
there.
but
Yeah.
we're yeah, so we're like Wonder Woman with a bracelet. Well,
That's right.
we keep stuff away.
Okay, so one thing what I want to capitalize on here and let people so they're not confused with this, coming into the virtual reality world and being in that classroom, that avatar that you're sitting next to is a real person that has a voice that you can speak to, sitting right next to. Also, what Patty was saying, now she's going to be up there in her little avatar body, but behind her is going to be this screen with her face and her body up there communicating with you, not on a pre-recorded webinar type of thing at all. It will be her up there live giving that presentation, so you will see her on screen in person, physical body, right? That sweetness of who she is. And her avatar being right there beside you, right? Which now really gives you that fullness, and your psyche. Your psyche will fall right into that classroom, and it's going to give you the feeling, the knowing of being totally present, whether you were, sitting in a hotel up the street or across town or across wherever next to everybody. Your psyche will just bring that in just within 5 minutes, and you're there, and you're going to interact. If you have a question, all you got to do is stand up, or you can raise your hand and shake it. It's like question, right? And be able to interact as if you were, because it's not if you were, you are present, right? So
Yep.
I wanted to clarify that to let people know that, they're not going to come and sit down and watch a movie or a pre-recorded something. Not at all.
Oh,
Not at
mm-mm.
all. You know,
No,
it
and that's why this blows my mind. When we first talked about it, it blows my mind. And again, that's where overwhelm starts to hit me. And I'll be honest, again, it hits me because I haven't got my hands wrapped around it yet. I've got my brain more wrapped around it than I have my hands wrapped
right.
around it.
It's her
And
mind
and
that
once
she's
I
got
get it,
wrapped around. It hasn't all sunk in the brain yet. When it sinks in the brain, then the messages will get out there, and that's where I come in, where I can show you how to do this. So that the technical things,
Mhm.
right? So when I first started with some of this behind the scenes too, with the techie, it's like, okay, well, what do I got to learn, right? And when you open your mind to say, okay, what do I have to do? Oh, well, that's not so bad. So, but if you go into it with fears like, oh my gosh, how am I going to struggle? I'm an old person. I'm not supposed to be able to do this stuff. Get that out of there. That's a number. The more things that you do to keep the neurotransmitters in the brain firing, with new neurons and new dendrites and everything, keeps you more alert, more clear as you move through life. Why do old people get feeble? Why do old people get forgetful? It's because they quit growing their brain.
That's true.
Right? Can you reverse that? Yeah, you can. The power of the brain is very powerful when you add the mind to it. What the mind can conceive and believe, it will achieve, regardless of what that is. You talk about the law of attraction. Automatically, the automatically transitions of what happened. Miracles do happen. They're not miracles. They're the power of your mind that each one of us has. So when you're moving in, so go beyond this world out here, because this creation on this planet that we're on is an illusion. The first time I heard that, oh my God, I think it was in the 80s. Like, well, the world we live in is just an illusion. I'm like, okay, that's a thought. Let's capitalize on this. What do you mean it's an illusion, right? Well, when you get a greater understanding of what the power of the mind really is, someone gave it a thought, which is nothing but unmaterial things, right? Began to make it a material thing by getting substance that has been on the planet, putting it together, right? And there it is. There it is. So when you look around, everything that's in your office, in your home, in your kitchen, all these gadgets, everything, those were somebody's thoughts.
True.
That generated the matter. That generated the matter. The thing that was built. So, yeah, this is an illusion. So stepping into the virtual reality world is another way to create your dream world out here, your fantasy world out here, because it's still reality. So all you're doing is taking this physical vessel, jumping in your little avatar, calling it whatever you want, getting rid of all your inhibitions, your fear of being around people, all of these different things. Oh, people are going to, what am I going to wear? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, right? And so it really drops the curtain on a lot of fears. Now maybe some new ones pop in. Oh, what if I don't get on right? All that's training will be done, and it's you follow the steps.
Right.
It's no different than when you get up, get dressed, get ready to go somewhere. You walk out the door, you jump in your car, you turn on the key, you put it in gear, and you drive to wherever it's going. Now you park, you get out, you walk into another door, you go into your room, you sit down. Okay? This is no different than that, except that you're going to walk into your office, turn on your computer, you're going to push this little button, it opens up this program, now you push that little button, and then you push this little button, poof, you're in the class. That's the only difference. Don't make it something that you are going to put yourself into anxiety over. You're going to convince yourself not to do it. Don't go there. Don't go there. Because if
That's
you
right.
allow,
Don't go there.
That's
And
right.
I'm looking at myself.
If you
I'm looking at myself in the camera. Don't go there.
if you allow yourself to go there, what happens is you've made the choice to say, I'm not worth taking that class. I'm not worth hearing what she has to offer. Wow. Oh, knife in the gut, right?
Mind blowing. Yep, exactly. Exactly. You hit it right on the head, Beverly. It really, whether it be for me going through the process of developing this for my clients and my business,
Right.
or for people who are attending, it's the same thing. You are worthy of
That's right.
doing this.
That's right.
And what you're going to do and the results you're going to get are worth it.
It's priceless. Totally priceless.
Priceless.
Totally priceless to sit down, push that button, and push this button, and show up 100% in your little
For
avatar.
yourself. Show up for yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. Because the show's going on whether you're sitting in that room or not.
Right.
So it doesn't matter if you're flying to another state. jumping in a hotel room. Now you can stay in your hotel room, or you can go downstairs and get in on the meeting, right? Same difference here. You can get out of that bed.
Yeah.
You can walk into your office and you can push that button and get in that classroom. Those are the choices that you have. No one can make those except you.
It's true.
Where do you value
That is
yourself?
so true.
Where do you value yourself? Are you worth it?
So
Heck yes.
it is, this is like, and it is, and right now with what we have going on in the world, things, Beverly, and I know you and I are the same way with this, we realize things don't just happen for coincidence.
No.
Things happen for a reason. And I said before, you and I were put together for a reason.
Yeah.
And with what's going on in the world, if me developing this for myself and for my clients and people, my future clients, but also the message that we're sharing to other entrepreneurs, that this is something that will be available, because the way of the world is changing, and the way that we access information and education is changing. And I think this is the track that it will be going on. So I feel like I got a seat in the front of the bus.
That's right. Because it's going to happen with or without you. That's what you have to remember. It will happen with or without you. Which bus are you going to get on? Which train are you going to jump on? Which spaceship are you going to jump on? Right? That's the question. Are you worth it? Yes.
Yes, I am.
Yes.
Yes, I am.
And you made a point here too, saying how you're going to change different lives and different entrepreneurs and what you're doing, and wanting to have that change, and doing online courses. Now, online courses isn't something new. They've been out, and there's more and more coming on all the time. But ask yourself, how many online courses have you bought and never completed? I got some of those. Okay?
Yeah.
Why didn't I complete them? Because I could do it on my own time whenever I wanted to, and guess what? My own time got took up with other things. I was not invested in the capacity of what I should have been, and now I don't even know where to go back and find them if I wanted to.
Okay, but I'm going to add to that, Beverly. It's because, too, those courses didn't offer you the interaction just like you and I are having.
That's exactly right.
That need for feeling a part of, and feeling like you're getting that instructor's or that person's attention for what you have paid for.
Right.
You, instead of just a recording or this or that. So that's why I do believe that this, especially for my business and what I do with people, is going to be huge and such a big benefit.
Yeah, because they get all of you.
Right.
All of you. Right.
Right. And so they'll be able to take the course and the stuff that I'm designing, they'll be able to and do the course, and there'll be, so if they want one-on-one separate from the virtual course and virtual, then the one-on-one coaching and consulting and that type of stuff will be a package that put together specifically for whatever needs they have.
Right. Yeah. That way you get your personal design. And one thing too I want to say is the added benefit of this, okay, is now that you're in the event and a part of the event 100%, these events are also recorded, so you get an opportunity to take that with you so that you can watch it again. And it's like, oh man, my notes are so scribbled up later. It's like, I don't even know what I wrote here, but I know it was good, and I was trying to scribble it down at the same time, right? So you have a chance to go back over what you just learned. So you're not only taking that class once, you're taking it over and over again. And to be able to really grasp the fullness of that is you get that one-on-one attention following it. That's the key, because how do we know if someone's going to be a part of what we have to offer, right? Is until we actually see them in action and get our questions answered. It's building that know, like, and trust, right? That know, like, and trust. So don't go blank like Patti just did.
Okay. Now,
This is
it's
her
not 'cause
technology thing. This is her.
no. I don't take responsibility for that. We're having high winds here, and my connection. So that was my
Yeah.
connection. That wasn't my skill.
Well, there's some things that it has. Some of the stuff really is not a skill thing. What's behind? Because you're on your cell phone, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So what happens is it times out after, come on, how many times you have your phone laying there and it's on, and then all of a sudden, poof, it goes black. Or your computer goes
Right.
to sleep, right? That's what those things are. That's out of your control because it's programmed on this automatic pilot, which you have programs on automatic pilot. How do you change them? You find the right setting in there, right, and shift with it. So that's a key learning too, to know what that is. And sometimes you have to do that. You just move your mouse a little bit, or you just move your phone a little bit, and it shakes it out of that automatic pilot thing.
Right.
Right. So those are things behind the scenes that you have no aware of. It's technology. It's technology.
Yeah.
Right. So it really has nothing to do with. Go ahead, Patti.
Oh, well, actually, I have it on the phone right now because I have on my computer screen. I tried to have it so our live was here. So in case anybody did come on,
Comment below,
I could
right?
see and whatever. So that's why I had that going on. And again, it's all me learning all this stuff.
Exactly.
But my curiosity is greater than my
her
fear.
And that's a great note to end with here. I mean, geez, Patti, we could just continue this conversation. We are definitely going to have you back again and maybe talk a little bit more about that. But anybody out there listening now, if you want to know more about how to get in touch with Patti, how to get on her virtual reality world, how you can start doing that, maybe incorporating that into your business, comment below. Reach out to her. Click on her name. Send her a message. That's what it's all about, right? That's what it's all about. If you want to know what her book is, here's that Living Outside of the Box book, right? Living outside the box, right? And didn't you give our viewers a little special the last time you were on?
Yeah. So I have gifts for everybody. If you text the word GOAL, GOAL, to 866-926-4020, I have free gifts for you there. And, it includes actually, if you pre-order my second edition, because the first edition sold out on Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, and Amazon. So the second edition will be available around Mother's Day. So if you pre-order from my website, and she put this up on the screen, if you pre-order the new book, I will send you the audiobook file of the first edition for free, so that you can get started.
I'm
going
to do that. We will definitely put that up, in the upper box, so people know where to put that phone number and what to type in there, what to text in, and your website and how to get to it and all that kind of good stuff, because we don't want them to miss out on anything, right? And connect with Patti for this virtual world, because what she's doing here as a sneak preview, I get to see it. I'm ahead of you guys. This is going to be great because, again, who knows? Her and I might be up there on stage together, and won't that be a treat for all of you guys? Right?
We can do this for that platform. So this is this again, mind blown. The possibilities with this are endless, and I'm so excited. And Beverly is my mentor with this whole virtual stuff, and she's in my circle of influence.
So Patti, let's do this. Let's get you showed up so your show's ready to go. You got your, and let's do a little sneak preview where your avatar and my avatar are actually standing on the stage and play the role of what they're going to get. How fun
Sweet.
would that be?
Oh, yes. Yes.
So now you all have something to look forward to. So, okay. We are going to shut this down, or we'll be going on here for the next week, you know? But I want to thank you again for joining me, Patti, especially on short notice here, right? It was great. I love having you on the show.
This was no accident. You contacted me, and just when I had done the post that I said about this morning, and just timing. Everything
is in the timing, right? It is. It really is. And being spontaneous and knowing and recognizing those non-coincidental things is great. And having your curiosity stronger than your fear.
Larger than your fears.
That is so great. So again, thank you again, Patti. And we are going to say it's time to go out there to do what? Be that best you that you can be.
You can be.
Yes. Me and Patti are going to be the best we that we can be.
The best we that we can be.
That's right. That's right. Thank you all for joining the show, and stay tuned for tomorrow's show because it's going to be a real doozy. Bye for now.
Bye.